This video will teach you everything you need to know about writing villains. But first, we need to understand that there is a difference between antagonists and villains. Antagonists are the opposite force to the protagonist, and villains are characters that are evil in our morality spectrum. In a morality spectrum, you usually find villains, anti-villains, anti-heroes, and heroes. Villains are bad people that do bad stuff like killing children or puppies. Anti-villains are characters with heroic traits, but at the end they are just other bad guys that kill children and puppies. An anti-hero is someone that lacks those heroic traits and is not afraid to use unconventional methods to save children and puppies. And lastly, our heroes. They are good guys. There are two concepts in storytelling about establishing the morality of your characters: saving the cat and kicking the dog. If you have a hero, it should do good stuff like saving a cat. You should establish that the character is good through actions and choices, not through words and descriptions. The same goes for villains. Your character is bad, then it should do bad stuff like kicking a dog or worse. You get the idea now. Not all villains are created equal. Some of them have different purposes. There are antagonistic villains that are meant to be an obstacle for the protagonist, and there are emotional villains that are designed to provoke the audience. They are often minor or secondary villains. Let's talk about emotional villains first. These characters are written to evoke emotions, usually to frustrate the audience with their actions, like Wapol and Charles from One Piece. Wapol is a corrupt king that left a country in ruins and without medical services. Their evil actions and intentional ugly designs are meant to make the audience angry, so that when the hero kicks their butts, the audience feel relief. These types of villains are also meant to help establishing how capable the protagonist is. Then you have the antagonistic villains. You will need these three elements in order to have a great one. One, it has to be an obstacle to the protagonist, of course. Usually the villain has a goal that is opposite to the protagonist, so that only one of them can achieve its goal. Another thing that you could do is have the hero and the villain share the same goal, but for different intentions. 2. The character needs to be capable. Someone with bad intentions is troublesome enough, but someone with bad intention and that is smart, skilled, strong, or all of them combined is way more menacing. The villain and antagonist need to be a challenge. And finally, the character needs to be intimidating. They shouldn't be just a challenge, they should be a threat. You can achieve this through the character's personality, demeanor, and dialogue. Even characters that disguise as kind and pure often have sinister tones around them. Speaking of tone, the tone and genre of your story is something you need to have in consideration for your villain. It's not the same thing to write a villain for a comedy than for a crime thriller. Another good thing to have in mind is the character dimensions and character interactions. Of course, you will have to build the dimensions of your villain: the internal dimension, his beliefs, thoughts, and emotions; the personal dimension and the relationships of the character; and the external dimension, how the external world could or is being affected by the characters, and vice versa. But not only that, you should think of how the dimensions of the villain are interacting with the dimensions of the hero. Sometimes they are completely opposite, and other times villains and heroes, protagonists and antagonists, have more in common that they might accept. It's not just your main character that needs to contrast or match with the villain. You can also use secondary characters to make the interactions way more interesting. Maybe the villain has something that the hero lacks, and it's only with the help of another character that the hero evolves. But I will talk about secondary characters in the next video. All of these are great tips. However, achieving great villains takes practice, so you will need to write a lot. But I believe in you.